All right, appreciate everybody that has hopped on today for some availability with Henry Coleman. Henry, appreciate you taking the opportunity with us. Like all of our press conferences, we ask that you use the hand raise feature in the participant tab if you have a question, and I'll bounce around to anyone that does have a question. I think everybody should have the ability to record. If you don't, shoot a message in the chat and we'll give you the ability to record. We'll also send out selected quotes from today's availability later today, and we'll send out high-res video to whomever needs it. So that being said, Henry, appreciate you taking the opportunity with us, taking the time, and we'll go with first question. We'll go Mark Davis, NBC 12 in Richmond. Mark, go ahead.
Thank you, guys.
Hey, Henry. Thanks a lot for doing this. Appreciate you. Good to see you down there. Your remarks on Thursday during the protest, I think, moved a lot of people. Just curious what inspired that, and just kind of how thankful you were for the opportunity to be able to get that chance to address the student body during that protest.
Yeah, I thought it was an unbelievable job by Coach K and Coach Nolan, what they had set up. But I was just moved just to speak for the people that didn't have a voice. My parents told me to always just use my platform. I built this platform. They always tell me you wouldn't build a house and not sleep in it. So I just have to use this platform and continue to talk.
Thank you.
All right, then we'll go to Jason Evans next. Jason, go ahead. Jason, make sure you unmute yourself.
Sorry. Yeah, hey, Henry. So first of all, the moment that the team came up behind you when you were delivering that statement on Thursday, and they all came up to support you and be a part of what you were saying, was that planned in advance? How did that make you feel? What went into all of that?
It was not planned. I think it was just those guys being my brothers and being with me. It almost felt like a security blanket. It felt like I had people around me that truly cared and that really followed the message with me.
And a little bit of a follow-up to that, you're just a freshman. How did it feel to be sort of one of the leaders of the team, one of the guys chosen to make that statement and to have so many guys following you like that? Do you perceive yourself as a leader even though you're so new to the program?
It's just some capabilities I always have. I feel like I can lead these guys, but there are other guys on this team that are way more experienced than me, that have way more knowledge, and that I can just kind of be a sponge and, soak up all the knowledge that they have to give me. But I have those leadership qualities that I will be able to, keep voicing and keep leading.
All right, we'll go to Brendan Marks next. Go ahead, Brendan.
Hey, Henry. Welcome to Durham, and thanks so much for taking the time. You mentioned Coach K and Coach Nolan, obviously, and Nolan as well has sort of experienced some of those same things. I'm just wondering, what have your conversations been like with those two, and maybe how did Nolan help sort of formulate this and get it into existence?
Coach K is a guy, he's super open. He's always willing to, accept change and be with his players. He tells us that every day that, he loves us and that he's thankful for us. So I just think it's that common bond that we share a coach that, he's almost like a father figure to a lot of us, that he helps us, with a lot of different things on and off the court. And then with Coach Smith, he's just a guy that's super relatable, always being able to talk to him, bounce ideas off of, whether that be sports, shoes, or the protests. It's just, he's a great guy.
Did you speak to him on Wednesday night when you were first sort of composing your thoughts?
No, I did not. It was just something that I kind of came up with on my own.
Thank you.
We'll go next to Eric, Richmond Times-Dispatch.
Hey, Henry. Can you tell me, have you ever experienced racism yourself at any personal level? And if so, can you tell us what that was like?
My whole life, it's just been microaggressions, nothing to a crazy extent, but it's that, going to the store and having people follow you around. It's running through the neighborhood and, people looking at you a certain way. It's that constant feeling you going out the door every day, will I make it home? It's just something that you have to live with. And it's something that a lot of people and a lot of African Americans around this country have to live with.
Brian Horace, go ahead.
Hey, Henry, again, thanks for doing this. Obviously, you were speaking up on leadership and how you've demonstrated that. Obviously, you did when you were the senior class president in high school, and obviously with the peaceful protest, you taking an active role in that. Is this something that you'll see more of or do more of during your time here in Durham, sort of taking an active role off the court?
It's something that I hope to do. When I'm given the opportunity, I will use my voice and use my platform. But it's something that I look forward to doing and continue to do beyond Duke. When you go into that, that regular world feeling, just continue to use your voice, whether or not that I'm in the NBA or whether I'm in, any other field, continue to use my voice.
Thank you.
Mark Armstrong, go ahead.
Excuse me, Henry, the most emotional moment was when you talked about the conversations you have with your parents. If you're willing, could you flesh that out a little bit more about the talks that you have with your mom and dad?
Yeah, it's just those talks that, a lot of people, or African Americans specifically, have to have. That, you can't go down the street with your music all loud. You can't wear this certain type of clothing to certain type of events. It's just this persona that you have to kind of get used to. It's just this era and time that we have to get used to, and this kind of area that we're in right now. But it's just those small talks. I talked about that piece with my dad, and he talked about death before I'd even seen it in a movie. And I heard Chris Webber use the same analogy, kind of. It's just that, that talk that you have to have, that, my dad has to explain to me why certain stuff is happening. And it's sad that we have to have these talks when, you're just 5 years old. But it's, you have to have them.
So just briefly as a follow-up, so when you were talking with your dad, he's explaining to you like actual things that are happening on the news that he needs you to see?
Yes, he is. And I think that a lot of people, have to do that. A lot of people try to hide themselves from the news, and especially nowadays, but you have to explain what's truly going on.
All right, we'll go to Vashti next and then to Tom Shanahan.
Hi, Henry. Vashti Hurt with Carolina Blitz. Again, thanks for your words the other day. You talked about how your teammates kind of instinctively came around you and surrounded you. There's a lot of talk about the brotherhood at Duke, and for there to be a lot of freshmen on that team, for them to be there and come and kind of embrace you in that moment. Can you talk about how that felt, and then the bond that you guys have kind of developed in this short period of time? And then also, have you all talked about how you're going to take this message further into the season and continue to speak about these type of important topics?
Oh, definitely. Starting off, I told Coach K at the beginning of the season that we're a different group of guys. Everybody has come in hungry, ready to work, and we're just different. I feel like, to a certain extent. But when those guys came up behind me, it was like I said earlier, it was almost like a security blanket. I felt like those guys were around me. They felt the message with me. Even though they weren't speaking, they showed the whole community that they believed every single word that I was saying. And I thought that was a really, really big deal. And I want to touch on the girls' team did the same thing with Coach Lawson speaking. They came up behind her too, and they kind of comforted her too. And I thought that was unbelievable. It showed, the true brotherhood that we have as not just a men's program, but a whole program throughout the whole Duke athletics.
And have you guys talked about what you're going to continue to do during the season, if at all?
Yes, we have. We have just said that we would continue to use our platform and continue to use our voices.
All right, Tom, go ahead.
Hi, Henry. Thanks for doing this. Hey, I've never been to Richmond, but from all the news stories, I learned that you can't drive around Richmond without seeing the Confederate statue of Robert Lee. I just wondered, growing up, when you first became aware of the celebrating of Confederate soldiers and how this ain't right, and then also if you could, before you sign off, talk a little Duke basketball too.
Definitely. Growing up, it was kind of something that you just have to get used to. It was part of the history. It was something that, as a young kid, I was explained to throughout history and history classes that, this was the head of the Confederacy, during the Civil War. It was just something that, you kind of really got used to and you got used to seeing. Then when all this stuff happened in about April and May, it was unbelievable. It was truly unbelievable to see what they did to that statue. I was speechless. I had known a lot of people that were down there, and I just thought it was unbelievable, and it was, a true work of art. Then to kind of go on to the basketball side, I love this team. And I saw a tweet earlier. Somebody said, "You're going to like this team." And I saw Joey Bigger retweet and said, "Nope, you're going to love this team." We have a different variety of guys from freshmen all the way up to our upperclassmen that are just hungry and ready to work and ready to win.
Thank you.
All right, we'll go to Madeline Coleman and then Evan Coleman.
Hi, Henry. I wanted to ask you in the most genuine way possible. How are you today?
I'm feeling great. I had a couple classes earlier, but I'm feeling good right now.
Evan, go ahead.
So it was the Bucks sitting out their game on Wednesday, which sort of started a domino effect in the sports world over the last couple of days with regard to these protests. I was just wondering, what was you and your teammates feeling when you saw them sit out their game Wednesday? And what were your feelings, and how did you guys initially respond to it?
I saw a group of guys that were using their platform, like we talk about each day, to voice their opinion and voice, their opinion on people that, have oppressed us for a long time. And I thought that it was just a great way for just not only the basketball community, but the whole sports community to come together and to kind of show what they've done. I thought it was unbelievable.
We'll go to Eric and then Mark and then Jason.
Henry, do you think the feelings that are kind of inside you that led to you writing this thing and saying it, has that always been in you, or can you think to any time where something may have changed that would have inspired this?
No, I feel like that's always been in me. Growing up, you kind of deal with these, small microaggressions and kind of being a little bit oppressed, but it's something that you have to deal with, and it's something that, you have to talk about with your friends and family, but it's something that, I've kind of felt my whole life, and I just feel like it needed to be said. And I thought that, what happened to Jacob Blake and his family, it was just the right time to say something.
Thank you.
Henry, just curious, we talk about Duke basketball, and it's been this, I'm sure it was a big thing for you growing up watching Duke play. You don't doubt your abilities, but, now that you're there, is it setting in that you're a Duke basketball player? Do you have to step back and pinch yourself at all? I mean, how remarkable is it to finally be there and be able to settle in?
Yeah, it's truly, words can't describe it. To walk in every day and you see, Coach K, one of the best coaches ever, you kind of, just a surreal feeling. You go through the hallway and you see greatness. You see guys like Grant Hill, J.J. Redick, Christian Laettner on the wall, and you're finally part of, that program and this brotherhood. It's really a surreal feeling.
So Henry, I want to ask you a little bit about practice. I know that you guys have only just begun to sort of get into groups where you're playing with other players and not just doing individual stuff. Who's really impressed you? Who are the guys out there that you go, wow, I can't believe that this guy can do that, or whatever else it may be? And then after you answer, I want to follow up about your specific play, but start with your teammates first.
I mean, it's kind of crazy seeing like all the guys and what they can do from the guard perspective and from the wings and to the bigs. Everybody's working hard, but a couple of people that have just, are remarkable. Every time I watch DJ shoot the ball, it's funny. We do some shooting competitions together at the end of practice. And it's just like, I kind of get, 5 real quick, and then DJ gets 10 threes out of nowhere. So it's just true. It's just unbelievable. And then, seeing Jalen and Jamin and Mark, a couple other freshman guys, they're just surreal athletes. Mark at 7 feet, being able to do some of the stuff that he does is kind of crazy. And then Jalen and Jamin being freakish athletes, being able to handle the ball and do other things is pretty cool. And then for the upperclassmen guys, Jay Gold, Joey, Wendell, Matt, those guys, continue to get better every day. I continue to learn from them, seeing some of the stuff that they do on and off the court.
Hey, really quick, best 3-point shooter on the team, DJ or Joey?
Oh man, it's hard. That's definitely hard. That's a hard one right there. I got to see that. I got to see this one though. I might got to bring that up to the guys soon.
So, and I wanted to follow up. Has Coach K talked to you about what your role will be on this team? I think a lot of guys probably have a good sense of what their role is going to be, and I'm not as sure that I have a good sense of what your role is going to be this season.
Not yet. Coach and I, he continue to get better. That's what he teaches me every day and talks to me about, continue to get better, with your skills and, what I have to do for this team for them to win.
All right, thanks for that. We'll go to JB and then Tom, Brendan, and Lawrence.
Hey, Henry, JB Ricks with Spectrum News 1. Thanks so much for taking out time. My question for you is, these are unprecedented times that we're going through right now, and it's always going to be a challenge for any incoming class, to gel and build that chemistry that you need. And with Duke, this is kind of the norm, like, 4-star, 5-star freshmen coming in. How have the things that have been taking place in our society and, the pandemic, how have these things helped build the chemistry that you incoming freshmen have to have with this Duke team, knowing that you guys are going through things that we've never seen before?
Yeah, I think honestly, even before a lot of this was happening, we were already close. Most of the guys, we had known each other through camps, through even playing together. But then with these things coming along, it's definitely brought us closer. We've just been able to, to talk about a lot of the stuff that's been going on. But then we kind of use basketball as this safe haven. We're out there shooting around, joking around, and just playing. Everything else in the outside world kind of goes away, and we're just, you're focused on making that shot, getting that steal, or just getting that win. So we use that basketball as that safe haven, kind of to get rid of the outside world and kind of focus on just basketball.
Thanks so much, man. Welcome to Durham, by the way.
Thank you.
Tom Shanahan, go ahead.
Hey, Henry, you're kind of young to know much about John Thompson, but I wonder if you did know much about him or if you're learning a lot now since he's passed away, how important he was as a African-American coach to college basketball.
I definitely know a lot about John Thompson. He's super influential in the DMV area, but also across the country and across the world, being that, one of the first African-American coaches to win a D1 championship was just unbelievable. But I actually had a coach by the name of Robert Churchill who actually played under him when I was at Benedictine. He was my head coach, and a ton of his quotes he used almost every day during practice, and he just instilled. He always told us that he instilled this hunger in the guys, and he always had this love for them at the same time too. That even though he was a coach, he had this hate-love relationship with the guys. And I just thought it was unbelievable. It's somebody that, my parents have always talked to me about and my parents are always big fans of too.
Oh, great. Good answer. Thanks.
All right, Brendan, Marks, go ahead.
Hey, Henry, I know that one of the things that was supposed to come out of Thursday was getting all the guys registered to vote, sort of spreading general awareness about voting registration. But what have the conversations been like since Thursday? Are there any other steps or actions that you guys can take right now to sort of hopefully spread that message along?
A lot. I think the media team is doing a great job of kind of pushing our message, showing, how easy it is to actually, get registered to vote. And it was something that I was kind of shocked about. I was like, 5 minutes. Dang, it's that easy. So I think, just continue to push that perspective and push, how easy it is to vote and how much your vote truly does matter.
Thanks.
We'll go to Lawrence Davis and then Brian Horst.
Hey, Lawrence Davis here with Spectacular Magazine. Just kind of piggybacking off of that same thought. Has any other public figures, politicians, local organizations reached out to you guys, or have you reached out to any local organizations about trying to get guys registered? Maybe not just on your team, but on campus?
Not that I know of, but I know that there have been talks about doing that. And it's something that we definitely should look forward to.
Thank you.
Brian, go ahead.
Hey, Henry, you mentioned a few months ago that possibly playing a role similar to that of Justice Winslow for this team. Obviously, you both are high motor guys. Are there any other similarities between your game and Justice's game that you can see?
A guy that can get downhill and, use his frame. But I think on that 2015 team with Justice, a lot of people kind of looked over as how good of a leader Justin was and how he always just brought energy. Whether or not he had 3 points or he had 30 points, he brought energy and was always ready to play. And I think he had a knack for winning. And it's something that I hopefully, can do for this team, and I know that I have.
Starting to wrap it up here with Henry. Jason, go ahead. If you have any other questions, please raise your hand.
So Henry, I wanted to ask you about the situation on campus. Has the team interacted with other students very much at all? Or have you guys tried to sort of stay in just a basketball/athletic bubble out of safety? And as a, sort of as an appendum to that, have you all talked about or thought at all about the notion of perhaps being in a bubble for the basketball season and not being a part of life on Duke campus?
For right now, we're just kind of, in our little basketball bubble, you could say. We still have the option of going into our in-person classes. Some of the guys still do that. Duke is doing a great job of socially distancing those classrooms and, having smaller groups. But for right now, we have not talked about that as a team. We just continue to kind of stay in our little bubble that we have now.
All right, last two questions. We'll go to Brendan Marks and then Brian Horace.
Hey, Henry, thanks again. You mentioned the ability to get downhill. I'm just sort of wondering, what is the thing that you've been most focused on improving since you've been in Durham so far? And what are the things maybe that a little more broadly we should know about your game if we haven't seen you play more recently?
I've definitely been working a lot with Coach James on my shot, being able to hit that pick and pop three. Then also attacking off the wing and in the trail position. He calls those his money spots. Guys can really get paid a lot of money, doing those things. So I've just been working on those things. But Coach and I have talked about it. Just continue to be a consistent shooter, and I think for my game right now, that's the biggest thing I need to work on. I continue to work on it. It's getting a lot better. Getting up, a lot of shots every day.
Gotcha. Thank you.
All right, Brian, we'll wrap it up with you.
All right, Henry, one last question, not related to basketball. What are your passions outside of the game?
I'm a huge, hopefully a lot of people know this, but I love to be outdoors. I love to go fishing. I like just being out in nature, One of my favorite authors is Henry David Thoreau. He's a guy, he always preached on, being out in nature. So that's one of my favorite things to do.
Thank you.
All right, Henry, really appreciate you taking the time. Well done today. And appreciate everybody hopping on here.